So you like that Gladiator 2 trailer?
I think I am not at all interested. I really am not.
You didn't like the guy riding on the rhinoceros?
Oh gosh, no, no. They don't
Okay.
know how to do historic pieces anymore. They really don't.
Hey,
The first one was iffy. This one looks ridiculous.
yeah, the one guy, the one you sent me, what's his name? The Megatron, is that what he calls his channel?
Metatron,
Metatron.
Metatron.
He's
Yeah.
Italian. Did you know that?
Yes,
I
he
didn't know that.
is.
Yeah.
Yes, he
And he
is.
was going over this trailer, and he was on board. Okay, I'll cut slack. Like he made a point. Like I know you see a black slave here and a white slave here. It's okay. The Romans hated everybody. You know?
Yeah,
He was-
exactly.
and,
Um,
then he shows and then he was on board until he sees the guy in the rhino and he went nuts. He's like, "This is World of Warcraft." This,
yeah,
this is
exactly.
hardcore.
Metatron. I've shared him a couple times in the MeWe group for last call. I started with him when he was picking apart YouTube channels that try to tell you how to pronounce certain foreign words. And Metatron's a polyglot, right? He speaks a lot of languages fluently.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, Italian is his first language.
Right.
So he said, "Okay, we're getting to Italian." He goes, I may just lose it. I'm trying here." He gets ranty, understandably so, and he goes, he's mimicking, fettuccine, Lamborghini. It's like, I totally get him.
Dude, I'd love to see him critique House of Gucci.
Oh yeah,
Just do like scenes. Oh man.
he
Uh,
he read one of my super chats in a live stream one time, and he goes, "Troy, okay, I don't know if you anglicize, but I'm going to assume Italian because I'm Italian. That's Pacelli."
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, "Yup, yes it is."
well, let me say welcome. I believe FKHC 2005 was first. Welcome. Welcome, Crispy. Oh, wait. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. What am I doing before I even say hi to the chat? Welcome to Geeky Geezers.
Yeah, people are going to think you're doing a Mr. Matchstick and you just go live while we're talking backstage.
I'm your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello.
All right. Welcome, FKHC 2005. I believe you're
Sometimes
first.
known as Tim.
Yes. Welcome, Chris P. Good evening. Looking forward to the stream tonight. Thank you. Thank you for always being here, Chris P. I was talking to Birdman earlier today, actually. He's doing well, but he's just
Good.
very busy with work. That's why I haven't been on this channel as often these days. Just in case any of you thought I had a falling out, no, we're fine. We just we've just been busy. Big Al presents. Have a great stream, my friends. Hope everyone is doing well after very trying few days. Tell me about it. We were having a good old time with Al and also our special guest from Beyond the Hub. And
Nick from Beyond the Hub.
talking about cryptids. I did simulcast it on this channel. You can also check it out on Troy Pacelli's channel for the original.
Absolutely.
And it was rather cool. We were
Yeah.
talking about cryptids, and what's neat about the United States, maybe even all over the world, everywhere you live, you got a cryptid.
Yeah.
You got some scary beastie you want to stay away from. Isn't that nice?
And the fact is that every now and again, you'll find out that they might be based on something true. We talked about that as well.
Yeah.
Times that people had been talking about seeing things, and describing them. People saying, "You're nuts. It's just a legend," only to find out, yep, they discovered a gorilla, or they discovered the coelacanth, or they discovered, some other thing that they thought was extinct or that didn't exist.
People used to think the idea of mountain gorillas was nonsense. You're seeing things. It's a myth, and then we discovered they were real.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Geeky Geezers. Thank you, D. Penzek. Welcome, Horizon Talker. Welcome, Joshua V. Let me go down to the new comments. We got some things to talk about tonight. Netter of Netters Network. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Zootopia. Welcome. Of course, this was a trying few days. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family of that firefighter who unfortunately lost his life at a Trump rally recently. And thank goodness that. Well, there was another loss of life, but that.
I'm just waiting to see somebody say he died from toxic masculinity. Because he was trying to protect people, his family, but still, it's what a man does.
Leland Toxic was the shooter, and I'm still trying to figure out more about him. At least
we'll talk about that somewhere else. That's
somewhere else. That's not. I know
topic.
That's not the thing of this type of stream. I know, but
I've got my opinions. Let me tell you.
I'm sure you do. Geek Flag with Nate with Nate knows. Welcome, Quapla. Make sure you hit the like button and support Geekies. Yes, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Ding, ding.
And, even through COVID, I was here.
Yes, that's true.
Of course, to be fair, it didn't really hit me until the following day. But anyway,
yeah.
Yes, I had I had the dreaded disease this week, but I know I'm not supposed to mention by name. But whatever.
The dreaded disease of unknown origin.
That's what I said on Deleted Scene stream or your stream on Friday.
Exactly.
Unknown origin, yes. No one knows where it came from. Anyway, this is Geeky Geezers. Kind of a light night. I remember earlier in the week, I'm like, there's no news.
Yeah.
There's no.
And let's face it, the politics have taken up all the oxygen for the news these days. So
yeah, well, this means Hollywood.
Little less pop culture today.
Well, today, yes, but I'm saying in general, Hollywood, you're supposed to entertain us. You're supposed to take our mind off.
That's right.
Of the daily events. This should be a stream where I can talk about all the cool things that are coming out and how we're excited for them, which is how this channel should be.
Right.
Not about the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Of many.
I did watch a certain masked YouTuber's video recently, and he said there was. And now, again, these are rumors. These are people going behind the scenes. But one of the rumors, and this is a rumor going behind the scenes, that one of the things they're discussing to save Star Wars is a live-action version of the Clone Wars series.
Which is, I could totally believe that because the people at Disney are actually that stupid. Yes.
Why? They hate Luke Skywalker. They hate that character, and they don't understand he was central to Star Wars. I don't understand this.
And that's fine. And they can continue to lose money, and they can continue to go bankrupt. And I'm sorry, if you're going to be one of those people that comes back and says, Disney's too big to fail, they'll be just fine. Yeah, get out of my face. You don't understand anything.
At the rate they're going. Anyway, but we have some Disney news tonight later as far as Marvel goes. We'll talk about that. Cryptids are fun to look into. The rabbit hole will go down forever. That's what's fun.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Just called a Mexican beer. Yes. I think I have had Mexican beer on the Friday night stream on occasion. But
does Dos Equis count?
I think so. I forgot what I was drinking, but Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. Yes, it's always Anakin. Anyway, that's
right because he blew up the Death Star. At least that's what one of the new Star Wars stars said.
He's not a star anymore. Apparently, that character was killed off. Spoiler. I'm sorry. I watched. You know what? Let's not talk. I try to make this a no talk about Star Wars channel. What am I doing here?
Yes.
Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about.
Yes.
The good old days?
Oh, the good old days.
That was your cue. What are you doing to me?
I didn't realize that's how you were going with this. Okay.
It takes a moment to invest in Disney these days.
That's the problem. Unscripted raid. Thank you so much, but we were unscripted, and that's why I missed my cue.
It's okay. Anyway, but I do like this cover. We even got a little bit of odd Karate Kid news tonight to talk about, but this should be fun nonetheless.
We're going to be talking Karate Kid a lot this week.
The lovely Dakota Johnson is in the image as well, though she's not really the center part of the article. They kept writing the article like I'm supposed to think that it was Dakota Johnson that made that statement. She said nothing of the kind. That was a different actor in the thing. We'll get to it later. Good old days. Fairy Tale Theater.
I loved Fairy Tale Theater.
I remember this fondly as a child. I got introduced to a lot of different fairy tales from this show, actually. Memory serves, yeah.
Absolutely. Showtime, it lasted for 6 seasons. I don't remember. It wasn't a lot of episodes in 6 seasons. I think it was like 27 episodes. So, but I saw every single one of them. Actually, a couple of them were fairy tales I'd never heard before. Some of them were just a different take on classics. But, gosh, I loved this. A lot of stars, a lot of guest stars in this. Starting
the Love Boat of its day, if you think about it.
Well, not even, because we were talking big stars that were very popular at the time that just happened to be between projects or went out of their way to make time for it because they wanted to do this.
You had Mick Jagger was in the one about the Emperor and the Nightingale. That was Mick Jagger. Did you know that?
Oh, that's right. Well, the very first one was Robin Williams as the Frog Prince. I remember that.
There he is.
What?
Robin Williams.
There you go. Oh, so you were Johnny on the spot with that one. There you go. Terry Garr there as
the princess.
And on the far right, those of you that are Star Trek fans or Benson fans, Renee Auberjonois.
Look at that. I'm impressed that they got big name stars. Maybe it was considered a treat. These were I want to call them what we used to call teleplays. Like they were shot on video, but good production value for like what I would want to say something that's kind of like a stage play.
It absolutely was. The backdrops and stuff. There was no. It wasn't done like in
a movie. Yeah.
It wasn't on location. It was as if it was on a stage. It was probably sets, but it gave you that impression of a stage with backdrops and props and so forth. And you weren't supposed to see it as believable. You were supposed to see it as you said, like a teleplay.
Curtis Selby doesn't want to step any toes. How did it compare to Once Upon a Time? I watched Once Upon a Time the first season. I didn't get further than that because I had started school again. But I can compare the two. This was more just straight up retellings of these classic fairy tales,
right?
Which I guess at the time, in a way, was considered. Oh, she's using video. I think there's an episode where they do a clip episode, and the Brothers Grimm sort of have her in a corner. Shelley Duvall says, "What are you doing to our tales?" And you're adding music video and all this stuff. And she's trying to defend her retelling of these tales. But I think these are just fairly traditional, whereas Once Upon a Time, I think it treats the stories as if they happen, but it goes further, whereas this is just...
Once Upon a Time is more of an ongoing drama, kind of in the vein of a Marvel, where it brings them all together as if they're all part of one universe. These are all completely separate tales.
An anthology series, I would call this.
Exactly right. Series. Or you could think of it as a live action telling of these individual stories with, like you said, the flair of, Robin Williams probably did some improv there. I mean, you never know what was scripted and what was improv on his part, but
I believe he was in a frog costume for part of the episode.
Yes, he was. He absolutely was. And he chewed the scenery, no doubt about it. The episode was actually directed by Eric Idle. Just to give you an idea of the feel for this kind of a thing.
I think all the actors really got in on this, because who doesn't want to be in a fairy tale at least once?
Right.
And think about just if you're a play actor too, there's always some kind of fairy tale version being put on at a playhouse. Everyone who probably is an actor starred in a fairy tale at one point in their career, right?
And that teleplay that teleplay element, I think, really appealed to a lot of actors, that are so used to either episodic television or, cinema, right? This was a very different medium, a very traditional kind of medium. I say that on one hand. On the other hand, it was very cutting edge because it was cable. Cable was new at the time. They were introducing things like music videos and stuff like that. So it was also seen as a way of doing something traditional, but with a modern edge to it.
And get the kids involved. I mean, I was the right age range. I was a child at the time this was on, and so I got exposure to a lot of fairy tales. I mean, I'll be honest with you. In some ways, the Disney Vault really helped them, because that's where a lot of people get their exposure to fairy tales. But Disney had those movies locked up. If you were lucky, you'd get a theatrical release of one. So
that's a great point. That was part of the big draw for this, because these are just traditional fairy tales that, yes, Disney had probably done their versions of. We're getting back to brass tacks with these, right? And like Robin Williams, if you're a big Robin Williams fan, with this first one, this was right at that time he'd just gotten cleaned up, right? He was doing interviews talking about how there's no drug in the world that can get you as high as having kids and being a family guy. So he was looking for projects to do like this for his kids.
Yeah, and he did star in a lot of kid-friendly things, too, I think, as he got older, too.
Yeah, he did.
He was the genie in Aladdin. I remember that.
An incredible genie in Aladdin. That's true.
But here we have Paul Rubens as Pinocchio.
I love this. This is one of my two favorite interpretations of Pinocchio. Of course, the other one being Sandy Duncan. Right?
I remember that one. Yeah.
But yes, I remember watching this with my whole family because obviously, we had Showtime specifically for. I'd say specifically for fairy tale theaters for my brother, but when we saw the Pinocchio, we absolutely sat down and watched this as a family because again, my mom was the one that introduced me to, the concept of the live action and the Sandy Duncan and all that kind of thing. So yeah.
But good seeing him. I think he was
Carl Reiner as Geppetto, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Hervé Villachez as Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, that kind of makes sense, right?
This one creeped me out.
He looks perfect, doesn't he?
Yeah, because I remember this was a thing. Like he had to guess her. She had the princess or the character and had to guess his. Had to guess his name.
Guess his name, yeah.
And doesn't she cheat to guess his name or something, or she gets it given to her by somebody else?
She gets some help. Yeah, I don't remember the details. And I have heard this story told many different ways, so it would be easy for me to kind of forget this particular interpretation.
It was Shelley Duvall herself to play.
Singing in the woods. It says his name.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's the version that happened here. Don't forget, this also included a character. The wizard played by Jack Fletcher and a page played by Bud Cort.
Oh,
yeah.
You got. I'm watching this and I'm surprised at the quality of the actors, but I realized, well, they're not having to be on the whole series. They'd have to be in one episode.
They had to be in one episode. Yeah. And some of these episodes were filming contemporaneously. Like, for example, Terry Garr was the lead actress in the first episode, but Shelley Duvall plays in the second as the Miller's daughter in Rumpelstiltskin.
So you can still use the same actor in some other thing, too.
And Shelley Duvall, of course, because it was primarily her as the cornerstone, the host, she would be in multiple roles throughout the series.
I forgot her picture. I thought I put her picture in here. I'm sorry about that. I thought I had her
picture. Nope, you went right past her.
Where?
No. Oh, I thought I saw her. Never mind.
No, well, if she turns up, I'll put it. I meant to have her picture in there as the character Rumpelstiltskin. Here we have
Sleeping Beauty,
Christopher Reeve, and I'm sorry if ever there was an actor born to play
Prince Charming, absolutely. But do you remember who Sleeping Beauty was?
Bernadette Peters,
the very lovely Bernadette Peters. Yes. Yes.
This one creeped me out. This had was it Maleficent in this as well, or did they name her in this? Maybe
it was I believe it was something like Henbane or something. The Wicked Fairy.
I know it's always the Wicked Fairy.
Played by the also lovely Beverly D'Angelo.
Okay, yeah. So we, of course, this is. I always like this story.
This is also right. What you're showing here is also the king is again a different king, of course, but the king is again played by Rene Auberjonois.
There you go. Yeah. This is Hansel and Gretel. I tried getting a good picture of this one. That's Ricky Schroeder as Hansel. I forgot who played Gretel in this, but
Bridget. What's her name? Bridget Anderson. Bridget Anderson was the actress that played. I remember from '82 Savannah Smiles.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah,
I played Gretel.
She's the one that played Gretel.
You played the witch in this.
Yes, I do.
Joan
Collins, absolutely.
She could put a spell on me any day. But anyway,
Well, yeah,
I'd be a dead man.
right.
Just-
You would not have survived most of these evil sorceresses, right?
Yeah, but she looks like an old crone in this. I don't know if maybe there's a scene thing where she doesn't. She looks like Joan Collins. Maybe they did that because what's the point of casting Joan Collins if we can't have her look like Joan Collins?
True.
I remembered I made a point on Space 1999 how like we got Christopher Lee and we have Peter Cushing. What female actress are they going to cast from that world? And I'm like, I know Ingrid Pitt's not on this show, so it's not going to be her. And I was like, who else? I said, I guess Joan Collins. And then Joan Collins, a few episodes, there she is on Space 1999. But
Absolutely.
nice looking lady. But there we have Carrie Fisher as Thumbelina.
That's right. And do you remember who her prince was? Someone who could have been Luke Skywalker
William
in another
Catt.
role. Yes.
I could see William Catt as a Luke Skywalker. He has kind of that Luke quality to him. Yeah.
Yes, he absolutely does. He read for the role.
Interesting. Yep. But yeah, so good for her. Good seeing her in this. She's playing I guess she's playing a princess again.
Yes.
This
exactly. Good point.
That's from the Aladdin episode. That's James Earl Jones as the genie.
There you go. And see, he's so made up. You know, you wouldn't even realize until you hear his voice.
He's got like the blue makeup on his face and everything. Yeah, but I'm sure he had a towering presence in this.
Do you know who played the evil magician in that one?
Don't recall the vizier type.
The
of character.
vizier character, yeah. Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, excellent!
Mm-hmm. And the princess?
Who?
Valerie Bertinelli.
Did we just already do Valerie Bertinelli? Oh no, we didn't. Actually, she makes sense. Yeah, from all those 70 shows. Yeah,
yeah.
In this. Here's their Cinderella, Jennifer Beals.
Oh gosh, yeah. She played opposite Matthew Broderick in this one.
Matthew Broderick was the prince, yes. Mm-hmm. And I forget who played the stepsisters, but they were great. I think the actress who played Mrs. Poole on...
well, I remember Eve Arden played the stepmother.
Yeah.
Edie McClure, you're right, was one of the stepsisters.
But, yeah. I guess she was big on coming off of Flashdance around this time, right?
Jennifer Beals, absolutely.
Yeah. And lovely lady.
I also believe that you could also, if you really want to do a deep dive into this, you could look into the contracts of these different actors, because I think that she was also in a movie with Sting called The Bride, and I think Showtime had the license to air that one. Yeah.
Well,
so she might have had an agreement with them.
Well, it's also good cross promotion. Like,
yes.
This is the one who's, the kids can watch this, and then the parents can watch the Bride.
Definitely the parents are going to, not the kids.
Yeah.
But, for sure.
Yeah. Great. And there we have Ben Vereen as Puss in Boots.
Yes, absolutely. loved that one.
Gregory Hines was in that episode too, I think. I don't know if he does any tap dancing, but
it was that was one that I think Netter had told me she had seen. Loved it.
But I don't know if I missed any episodes here. I know they probably did a Snow White, I'm sure. I forgot who was in Snow White. Now I want to look that up now. Darn it.
Who was in Snow White? Elizabeth McGovern.
Oh, okay.
And Vanessa Redgrave was the queen.
Oh, she was the evil queen. That's right.
And you know who did the magic mirror?
Who?
Vincent Price.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm telling you, these were great fun. These were quality teleplays, and
when you brought this up, I don't remember if I was talking about fairy tale theater or you were, but you were like, "Hey, would you be up for doing this for good old days?" I'm like, "I know this show. Believe me, I know this show."
Darth Vader versus Mr. Spock.
Yes, I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's true.
Episode, yeah. I'm kind of curious. They must have done Beauty and the Beast, right?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Okay, all right. Because that's a common one. The thing about all these fairy tales, too, we all think, oh, it's all Brothers Grimm. No. These are tales told around the world. Pinocchio was a fictional piece written by
Yep.
an Italian author, as was The Little Mermaid. I think they did a version of The Little Mermaid on here as
Well,
well.
the Beauty and the Beast. I had to double check because I thought I remembered this one, and I thought I might have been confusing it with a different version. So, Beauty was Susan Sarandon. The Beast was Klaus Kinski.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Klaus
Yes.
Kinski?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I know.
I'm used to him as like a hitman or a.
Yeah.
I guess he was good as the monster. Yeah, I didn't think
And
about that.
Angelica Houston is one of the sisters. Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, right?
We would have been better off with William Cat in retrospect. Oh, you mean for Luke Skywalker?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. But,
I feel it as an actor, imagining him in that role, I'm like, I totally could see that. And I don't think we would have missed anything.
I think he would have. I think he would hit the same beats that Hamill did. I think. Yeah.
I gotta say, I kind of feel like Kurt Russell in place of Harrison Ford would have worked too.
Now I'm trying to think who would replace Carrie Fisher.
No. The second runner-up was Sissy Spacek. That would not have worked.
No.
I could not have gotten behind that.
You know who I always liked, though? I always liked the actress who read for Lois Lane over Margot Kidder, who was Jack Lance's daughter.
What's her name? The one that was in Clue, right?
Yeah, I know why they didn't cast her. I think because she was playing too much of an old school Lois Lane, whereas I think
and
Margot
she came
Kidder,
off a little ditzy.
Yeah, I think Margot Kidder brought her to the modern day. That's why they used her. But but I don't know. But a fun little show. Rest in peace, Shelley Duvall. You did bring us Fairy Tale Theater.
Absolutely.
Sorry I didn't have a picture from her from the show. She should do the intro with each episode.
Yes,
too.
she did every time.
But that was her baby, and she produced a lot of episodes. I think she covered all the major fairy tales. So, and it was the way me and many other children learned about these different fairy tales.
Yep.
Just from this show.
That's true.
Did she do Ponce de Leon? I want to say they did a Ponce de Leon episode as well.
Okay, that I don't remember, so I'm going to have to.
Maybe I'm confusing. Oh no, I forget. Shelley Duvall did other shows besides Fairy Tale Theater.
Well, that's true.
It was probably on one of those. Maybe it was on one of her Tall Tales show. Give me a second. Hold on, I'm using Word now. So let me see if I can find the Word document. Geeky Geezers. All right. We have some sad news tonight. Shelley Duvall has passed away. Shelley Duvall, the big-eyed wayfish performer who won the Cannes Actress Award for Robert Altman's Three Women and endured Stanley Kubrick's intense directing technique to star in The Shining, died of diabetes complications on Thursday in Blanco, Texas. Variety confirmed with her partner Dan Gilroy she was 75. My dear, sweet, wonderful life partner and friend left us last night. Too much suffering lately. Now she's free. Fly away, beautiful Shelley, said Gilroy in a statement. Duvall was known for working with director Altman, who cast her in Brewster McCloud as her first screen role. She went on to appear in his films McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Thieves Like Us before starring as part of the ensemble cast of Nashville in 1975. After getting attention in Nashville, Altman cast her in Buffalo Bill and the Indians, then gave her unusual screen presence a chance to shine in Three Women, which she won the Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Actress as well as BAFTA nomination.
Mm-hmm.
Also in 1977, Duvall played a Rolling Stone journalist in Woody Allen's Annie Hall and met Paul Simon on the set. They dated for 2 years. Duvall starred as Olive Oyl in Altman's PaPa in 1980, a role that she's seen born to play with her giant eyes.
Yep.
Her unnerving performance as a health spa worker in Three Women led Kubrick to cast her as Wendy Torrance, wife of Jack Nicholson's character in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, based on the Stephen King novel. The Shining required more than a year of shooting, and throughout, the legendarily demanding director pushed Duvall to her limit. Some of her scenes in The Shining required more than 100 takes. Years later, she talked about the difficult shoot with Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
After a while, your body rebels. It says, stop doing this to me. I don't want to cry every day. And sometimes just that thought alone would make me cry. To wake up on a Monday morning so early and realize that you had to cry all day because it was scheduled, I would just start crying. I'd be like, oh no, I can't. And yet I did it. I don't know how I did it. Jack said that to me. He said, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Among her other roles were in Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits. I remember that.
Yep.
She was always the love interest of the same actor. It wasn't Eric Idle. It was somebody else. Michael Prade. Is that what I'm thinking of?
I don't remember.
Anyway,
I just remembered her. And it's
and,
like, oh, that's her.
well, she kept showing up in these different time periods, and like they're about to have this nice romantic.
Oh,
thing,
was she the one that was always with Michael Palin?
Michael Palin. That's
okay.
Palin. And in the Robin era, she's getting proposed in the Robin era, and then the dwarfs, crash through the carriage and ruin that. And then she's about to be proposed on the Titanic, and the same thing happens again with the dwarfs falling through the.
Right.
I don't know if this is like their descendants or if they're reincarnating.
Reincarnation, yeah, possibly.
During the 1980s, Duvall produced a series of children's anthology shows based on classic stories, fairy tale theater, tall tales and legends, nightmare classics, and bedtime stories. Boasted notable directors including Tim Burton, Francis Ford Coppola, and Ivan Passer, and guest stars like Robin Williams, Jamie Lee Curtis, Elliot Gould, Laura Dern, Molly Ringwald, and Ed Asner. I think the Ponce de Leon story was in the Tall Tales and Legends.
Oh, okay.
Fountain of Youth. What is nightmare classics?
I don't remember that.
That wasn't the one where they did Carmilla. Was that what that was?
I have no idea.
Look that up for me if you would while I read the rest of this.
I'll look it up.
If you have a minute.
Yeah.
Born in Fort Worth, Texas, she met Altman at a party while she was shooting Brewster McCloud in Texas. After returning to Texas, Duvall appeared in Steven Soderbergh's The Underneath in 1995, and the next year starred in Jane Campion's A Portrait of a Lady. She retired from acting in 2002. Though she lived a reclusive life, her appearance on Dr. Phil in 2016 garnered negative publicity for sensationalizing her struggle with mental health. In 2021, she was interviewed by the Hollywood reporter Seth Abramovich, who traveled to Texas and found her happy to reminisce over her career and finally regarded in her community in the Texas Hill Country, despite her eccentricities.
And yes, the Nightmare Classics, the second episode was Carmilla. I had never seen this. Executive producer Shelley Duvall.
I didn't realize she was involved in that. Okay, that's what that was. Because I remember Nightmare Classics, and I remember they did do a version of Carmilla, which had Meg Tilly in it.
I had never seen this. I'm going to have to look into this, along with these Tall Tales and Legends. I don't think I ever saw that either.
But yeah, it was an interesting series. They changed the setting of Carmilla to the Antebellum South in this episode, which I thought was interesting.
I can kind of see that, yeah.
And Roddy, I want to say Roddy McDowall is in the episode, but I'm not positive.
He was in everything back then, so I can totally see that.
He was on Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, yes, he was.
He was the Mad Hatter.
Yep.
In 2023, she returned to acting after many years appearing in the indie horror movie The Forest Hills, which is not widely available. She is survived by her partner musician Dan Gilroy and her brothers Scott Stewart and Shane. Well, rest in peace, Shelley Duvall. You had a big career.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for whatever happened on Dr. Phil, but I hope you lived a good life, and I hope they actually go to the trouble of remastering some of these old shows and putting them on streaming and stuff.
No kidding.
Upon seeing that episode happen, Paul Rodriguez, that's right, was in the episode. He inadvertently founds the Fountain of Youth. Yes. It was all about how Ponce de Leon finds the fountain, but then he realizes that if he finds it, he's going to outlive all of his friends and all of his loved ones, and he's going to be all alone. And
who wants to live forever?
And he decides not to drink the Fountain of Youth. And then, as he said, Paul Rodriguez falls in it by accident, and then they're telling the story in modern times, and then Paul Rodriguez is still around hanging out with a couple of young ladies in age since then. Yeah,
there you go.
But if you watch Superman and Lois, the actress who played Lois Lane, in my humble opinion, is the best live-action Lois Lane we ever got. If you don't believe me, watch the show. I watched the pilot episode. Whatever misgivings I had about it, I thought both the Superman and the Lois Lane were perfectly cast on that show. I think
my problem with the modern Superman has never been the casting. It's always been the writing, and I don't have a lot of hope for the upcoming Superman project either.
We don't know much about that. We do know more about the upcoming Captain America project, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yes, he was in Carmilla. Yeah, a Jewish sex therapist, Dr. Ruth, who fought in Haggadah, dies at 96. Yes.
Yeah. Talk about a long life and a very interesting.
This was always the most unusual person for you to have that would have these conversations. I thought this elderly Jewish lady, then suddenly she starts talking to you.
Use those condoms. Use them.
Oh my goodness, I'm just, and not in a bad way. I mean, nothing.
Do you have problems orgasming?
Yeah. This was another pop culture figure of the '80s, and maybe
Yes,
she was in her
I
80s,
used to
80s,
listen
I
to
don't
it.
know.
So the time slot where we now listen to The Other Side of Midnight with deleted scenes. That's when I used to be listening to Dr. Ruth on my little Walkman.
Yes. Oh, that's right. She was on the radio, wasn't she?
Yeah, nationally syndicated.
I was a kid. I used to when I was supposed to be sleeping, bedtime, I would sometimes get out my little Walkman with the radio and see what's on talk radio.
Yep.
At like 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, and I would turn that in. Yeah, Dr. Ruth Westheimer, the chirpy, diminutive therapist who became a pop culture figure as she encouraged Americans to have sex safely, frequently, and creatively, has died at age of 96. The Washington Post reports. Westheimer died on Friday at her home in Manhattan. The newspaper reports, citing her publicist. Known universally as Dr. Ruth, the 4'7" 140 centimeters tall lady with a distinctive German accent and perpetual cheerfulness, preached the joys of good sex, great sex, and especially safe sex. The woman who would become one of the world's best-known sex gurus lost her virginity at 17 on a starry night in a hayloft on a kibbutz. We spent many nights in that barn, but I remember the first time most vividly of all because it shows when two people are in love, the first experience can be very enjoyable, she wrote in her 2001 autobiography, All in a Lifetime. Westheimer, a great proponent of contraception, chided herself in the book for not being concerned with birth control in those first encounters. She also declined to say who her partner was because she remained friends with the man as well as his wife. Okay, well, yes, so maybe don't open up that can of beans, or anyway, let's move on. Westheimer herself was the product of an unplanned out-of-wedlock pregnancy. Her mother was working as a housekeeper for the family of Westheimer's father in Frankfurt, Germany, when she became pregnant. The young couple eventually married, and Carola Ruth Siegel was born on June 4th, 1928. Westheimer was 10 when the Nazis came to her Frankfurt home and took away her father. 6 weeks later, her mother sent her to an orphanage in Switzerland. In 1941, Westheimer stopped receiving letters from her parents, and she later learned that they had been murdered in the Holocaust. Well, that's awful. At 16, she emigrated to what was then Palestine and joined Haganah, a Jewish paramilitary organization. I learned to assemble a rifle in the dark and was trained as a sniper so that I could hit the center of the target time after time, she wrote in a 2010 New York Times opinion article that called for women to be allowed to serve in combat in the U.S. military. I believe she was probably an excellent sniper. What do you think?
This was back at a time when before people lost their minds and lived in a world of reality, and just saying. I'm just saying. It's a different world we live in now.
Westheimer never tested her sniping skills against an enemy, but was injured in a bombing in Jerusalem. She married an Israeli soldier, and they moved to Paris and went to college. They later divorced, and she headed to New York with a boyfriend and married him, had a daughter, and continued her education. After another divorce, she wed Manfred Westheimer, an engineer she met in 1961. That marriage produced a son and lasted until Manfred's death in 1997. After earning her doctorate in education, Westheimer went to work for Planned Parenthood and caught the attention of New York radio's station executive, where she lectured broadcast officials on contraception. That led to a 15-minute midnight radio program in 1980 called Sexually Speaking. Is that the one you listened to?
Probably, yeah.
Did your mother know you were listening to that? Probably.
No, I don't think she'd have cared, other than the fact that I was, not sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was an advice show that took questions from listeners about orgasms, condoms, and sexual dysfunction. Very sensitive subject matter for the time, and quickly won Westheimer a following. She said it was a combination of her experience, training, and her quirky voice and accent that gave her credibility with listeners. They also liked the way she would cheerily wish them good sex. Okay. Westheimer became popular guest on TV talk shows, which ultimately led to her own show. Unlike a Jewish mother, she was quoted as saying in People magazine, a Jewish mother who talks explicitly. So rest in peace, Dr. Ruth. That was supposed to be her in that, what is it, The Dark Knight Returns? Remember that?
Oh, okay, yeah, that
She
makes
was on the
sense.
show.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny in the Joker movie, when the more recent one with Joaquin, when he's
Mhm.
on that talk show host with the De Niro
Yeah.
host. There's a character on stage, and that might have even actually referred to her as Dr. Ruth, and I think she was supposed to be on the show at the same time he's on it as another reference, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, we're losing even more 80s icons. Let's move on. Oh, wait a minute. I always imagined Dr. Ruth's death would be by a bizarre sexual act. Well, that might have been David
Well,
Charity.
see, the
Rest
funny
in
thing
peace.
is, I think she knew how to do it safely. So I would have bet not. I would have bet any cause of death for her would not have been sex related.
I'm sorry. Roland
In
Zimmer.
fact, I would say that's probably why she lived as long as she did. I think she kept healthy because of being sexually active.
Perhaps. Fitness
Well,
guru
let's see.
Richard Simmons, dead at
Yes.
76.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing all the names. I'm telling you. Eccentric fitness guru Richard Simmons, known for his unrelenting positivity, has died, according to his representative. Simmons just celebrated his 76th birthday on Friday. The Los Angeles Police Department responded to his home after a 911 call from his housekeeper and found Simmons dead, according to a police sources. He appears to have died of natural causes and no foul play is suspected, the sources say. Simmons had spooked fans just 3 months ago when he posted that he was dying on Facebook, writing in March, "I have some news to tell you. Please don't be sad. I am dying. Oh, I can see your faces now. The truth is we are all dying. Every day we live, we are getting closer to our death." He later clarified that he was not actually dying, but that the message was intended to encourage everyone to embrace every day that we have.
Right.
Simmons has been out of the public eye lately, though. There were reports of a biopic being made about the fitness enthusiast earlier this year. Simmons criticized the reports, writing, "Don't believe everything you read. I no longer have a manager. I no longer have a publicist. I just try to live a quiet life and be peaceful." Simmons posted prolifically on social media, often several times a day. He posted about his birthday on Facebook a day before his death, writing, "Thank you. I never got so many messages about my birthday in my life. I'm sitting here writing emails. Have the most beautiful rest of your Friday." He told his fans on Friday that he'd had skin cancer removed from his face, but was now doing well. "I know some of you reading this have had cancer and know someone in your life who has had cancer," he wrote. "Promise me you will see a doctor and get a complete checkup." Excuse me. He was born Milton Teagle Simmons in New Orleans on July 12, 1948, but adopted the name Richard while growing up. Simmons has often talked about how he was overweight as a child, which led him to his weight loss journey and pursuit of a career in fitness starting in the 1970s and 80s. His first foray into weight loss came with the opening of his gym, Slimmins, in Beverly Hills, California. He released his first book, Never Say Diet, in 1980. The book was the first of 12 he would release in his career. His line of fitness videos exploded in popularity in the 80s, along with nationwide fitness craze that included growing popularity of aerobics and jazzercise. His videos included Sweating to the Oldies series.
Very famous, yeah.
Became one of the most popular videos of the era. Remember Sweating to the Oldies?
I do.
Oh, man. As a kid, those commercials drove me nuts. I'm like, really?
I think it kind of glosses over the fact that he really came into prominence during that whole aerobics explosion, in the late 70s or early 80s. He had this TV show that honestly, a lot of people would that was how they kind of got their exercise for the day, trying to keep fit or became even aware of being fit. I even remember when in grade school, the person that taught PE was not going to be in for a while, and we would just break class and we would do exercises with that show. They'd wheel it, like they always did in school. They'd wheel in the AV equipment. And,
oh no,
yeah,
you do a
absolutely.
whole Friday stream on the AV equipment and the fact that teachers never knew how to work it. I'm sorry, let's not be mean.
In all fairness, even someone who's gotten to really know how to, how those kinds of electronics work, going back to that older stuff, that stuff was very clunky. And even when you knew what you were doing, sometimes it didn't work.
Richard Simmons, I believe, really wanted to help obese people. Used to love and used loved and empathy, not humiliation,
Yeah.
to help them. Thank you,
He was
Leah.
always very,
Yes.
very positive. That was his thing. You know.
Not to sound cold, but I thought Richard was already dead. Well, he just became reclusive. That's
Yeah.
the article said.
And really, it's because he got tired of the attention when he wasn't actually doing anything. And I got the impression that he had some things going on in his personal life that was none of anybody's business, that he never wanted to talk about. And that was his business to... I respect the hell out of people that are celebrities that decide, I want to keep some things private, and I'm going to leave...
Private life is my private life.
Yeah, I'm going to leave celebrityhood in order to do that. I don't think enough celebrities know when that time comes in their life.
I still have an old VHS tape. Oh, of his. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they were very popular videos. They were advertised all the time. Especially, but I'll say at least he's selling you a product that will make you make better. I assume it was being sold to older Americans too, because it had the oldies playing on them too. So it was
And
like
the thing
I'm
was,
sure "Do the Twist" was one of the songs they had on.
Interestingly, they say they call him a fitness guru, but that term has come to have a kind of different ring these days, because you get a lot of people today talking about some really weird things that don't make a whole lot of sense. You don't know what to believe. His was just basic logic.
Diet and exercise.
Don't eat so much of the crap. Eat the stuff. You know what's healthy for you. Come on.
You know the fruits and the vegetables.
And get up off your couch and move. I think he actually used those exact words. Get up and move. Come on.
And he knew from first-hand experience how to lose the weight, because he was heavier when he was a kid.
Exactly.
What did I want to mention to you? I seem to recall, and I don't know if this rings a bell to you. Was there a children's program, maybe on a PBS station, where he would show up in like a human, like a suit that showed the inside of the human body on it?
Oh, I think that was Mr. Goodbody. Was that him? I don't know.
It may not have been him. I might be confusing him with that actor, but for some reason I always thought that was Richard Simmons. It might have been a different actor, Mr. Goodbody. And he would show up, and you would see like all the
Slim Goodbody. That's who it was.
Okay, different actor. Okay.
It was performed by John Bernstein, but yes, I could totally see where you would draw that
similar look, maybe.
Yes,
the curly hair. Okay, all right.
I'll put it this way: Slim Goodbody looked a little bit more. Well, he was actually more slim than Richard Simmons, a bit taller, and he had that very Arnold Horshack kind of Jewish-looking face.
Right. I just remember as a child thinking they were the same person, but
yeah, I can see that. It was the afro.
Yeah, I guess he talked. Yeah, well. How can I tell you this? Things affect us when we get older. I mean, it's sad, but I'm sure he helped a lot of people, and was one of the major celebrities of the '80s. Let's be honest here. We knew who he was.
Yeah, it does. I mean, especially when someone is thought of as a health conscious kind of guy, you start to wonder, what cause of death could be. And when you hear that he's been treated for skin cancer, you hope that's not... Skin cancer should not be a death sentence. But if you don't catch it early enough, it absolutely can be.
Yeah, and as some of us out there who are very fair-skinned, you got to really check your body.
And he was kind of big on tanning in the 80s. So he always had that bronze skin, so I suspect...
He was considered healthy.
Exactly why.
Like, if you had to tan healthy, but not everybody can... Sometimes you can tan too much, or if the wrong person tans, then you're in big trouble as far as the...
There is a very fine line between getting enough sun every day to merit your vitamin D intake and getting so much that it causes mutations in your skin that leads to cancer.
And yet I believe George Hamilton's still with us, so...
Well, yeah, there you go.
Oh, that'll be a well. He's not dead yet, but we should talk about George Hamilton sometime. Maybe Love at First Bite should be a good old days. Maybe
right.
Time. But now we go into the entertainment news of the evening. Big.
Don't know how entertaining it is, but
Did you get a chance to watch this trailer, or did you just hear about it?
I just heard about it. I that's how little I care about Marvel anymore.
Well, I don't know. I mean, here's how I sort of look at this. they have to know over at Marvel that they've had they made a wrong turn somewhere. And I'm
They
thinking,
do.
can this be the right turn, getting us back to the kind of movies we want to see? These fast-paced action movies with characters we like. And to be fair, we like Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't know if people were liking him so much on that Falcon and Winter Soldier show, which I didn't watch, but I heard people were angry at that show because they were saying that he was normally had a good positive outlook type of character, and they kind of darkened that on that show.
They turned him into an SJW. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which I think went against what we saw in the movies of him.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie is wearing his new title of Captain America well. The actor returns to the MCU for Captain America Brave New World, which takes place after the events of the Disney Plus series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The Falcon, played by Mackie in the previous MCU films, officially took on the mantle of Captain America in the finale of the series in 2021. I guess they're talking about Captain America Brave New World. I guess he was just handed the shield at the end of Endgame, but we weren't supposed to think he was going to become Captain America just yet, because that's why we have Disney Plus shows to fill in those blanks, right? I'm joking. Anyway,
gotta do your homework, folks, if you want to enjoy your movies these days.
Couldn't they just make this and ignore Falcon and Winter Soldier, because we can make the leap that when Rogers gave him the shield that he was going to be the new Captain America, and just move on.
Don't even get me started. Don't even
okay,
get me
all
started.
right. Okay.
I will.
Okay, all right. Anyway, the official synopsis for Brave New World reads: after meeting with newly elected United States President Thaddeus Ross, Harrison Ford. When did that happen, by the way?
No idea.
They didn't bother explaining that at all in the MCU.
No, of course, because you got to do your homework. I'm not actually kidding about that.
Sam Mackie finds himself in the middle of an international incident. He must discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, Joja Rocamore, Carl Lumbly also star, with Giancarlo Esposito, Liv Tyler, and Tim Blake Nelson. We keep forgetting that Liv Tyler is the daughter of Thaddeus Ross from the Incredible Hulk.
That's right.
Had Edward Norton in it all those years ago. Okay, so Ford is making his Marvel debut after taking on the role played by the late actor William Hurt in the films ranging from 2008's The Incredible Hulk to 2021's Black Widow. Hurt died in March 2022 at age 71. The film, which was originally entitled Captain America New World Order, is directed by Julius Ona and produced by Kevin Feige and Nate Moore. Louis S. D'Esposito and Charles Neuwirth serve as executive producers. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier creator Malcolm Spellman and series staff writer Dalen Moosen co-wrote the script. That does not sound good. The feature was originally slated for a May 3rd, 2023 release to mark the fourth film in Phase 4. Mackie previously said during the Kelly Clarkson show that the script for the film was shrouded in so much secrecy, he even had issues accessing it as the lead star. Ironically enough, I got my script today, Mackie said in 2023. I haven't read it, haven't opened it. I haven't gotten my passcode to the website that lets you into the website. We literally get a passcode to a website that gives you a location to meet the person to sign, to sit with a computer and read our script. They don't trust nobody. And it's always like some 21-year-old intern, and he just hates you. He's sitting there eating Cheetos, and he's like, read faster. And I'm like, I'm dyslexic. And he says, I don't care. After reading that, I have to say, if I was in that room, I think I would have knocked the bag of Cheetos out of the kid's hand.
Yeah, right?
Who the hell are you? And frankly, you just said he's dyslexic, so respect that. That's a reading.
No, we live in a generation of people that clearly don't respect anything but themselves.
He's the lead actor in this movie. You can, show him some respect.
No, they don't know how to do that.
I don't understand this. Captain America Brave New World premieres February 14th, 2025 in theaters. So,
what a brain dead title, by the way. Brave New World. Basically, the Aldous Huxley 1932 book, about a dystopian future. That's just friggin' brilliant to be naming your superhero movie. About psychological manipulation and psyops. Yeah, This is just a perfect time for something like that. But you know what? They probably don't even know what they're talking about when they come up with. Oh yeah, I've heard that phrase before. Brave New World. Let's use that as the title.
I like Sam Wilson as Falcon, but not as Captain America. If this was a Falcon movie, I might have watched this, but I don't want to watch him as Token Sam. I know a lot of people wanted it as Bucky taking over the reins because it would have given him a redemption story arc.
Not to mention, that's what happened in the comics. You know?
Here, Sam Wilson's also been Captain America.
Yes, he was, but again, like so many things, they use that as justification to leap over stories and ignore them. We want to get to this shit that didn't sell in the comics and forgo, the stories that you want us to tell.
Yeah. I do like Anthony Mackie. I think he's a good actor. Probably underutilized in Hollywood. I don't know. I remember you were mentioning Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah.
And they asked him about the Red Hulk.
This one gets me because that video is still out there. So does this mean you're going to be, what the hell's a Red Hulk? And apparently I'm sitting there going, look,
show up in the movie.
There's one of two ways to read this. Either he honestly did not know the lore, in which case he should not be out there promoting this. Because he should have been prepared for that. If that's not and as it turns out, it looks like he is. So what may be the case is he wasn't supposed to talk about it, but they needed a better cover for what's a Red Hulk. That just makes him look stupid, and it honestly does not help Marvel in any way.
Falcon and Winter Soldier has the worst Captain America speech I've ever heard or read.
Yeah.
Infinite. You know what's funny in this trailer? Harrison Ford's character, the President Ross, he says they said I either had to lose the mustache or lose the election because of course Thaddeus Ross has a mustache, and Harrison Ford's not going to grow a mustache for this part.
Which is,
why did they cast Harrison Ford?
Exactly. Why cast Harrison Ford? It's if this was a farce like Batman. And you got Cesar Romero who refuses to shave off his mustache. Okay, it's a farce. You can get away with that bull crap. You can't get away with that here.
With the recent Disney hack will leak any.
Hell, why did they cast a white guy? Shouldn't he be black? Let's make him black now.
Anyway, I do like Giancarlo Esposito. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah, why didn't they cast him as Thaddeus Ross? You could have done that. There you go.
Some villain who we don't know who it is. I'd heard rumored a while ago they were thinking of him for Doctor Doom, which doesn't make any sense because then he's going to be behind a mask the whole movie. So why are you using him at all? I don't think he's going to be Doctor Doom though. He's probably playing somebody else.
They're going to fuck up Doctor Doom no matter what they do.
That's going to be Fantastic Four movie, right? I guess.
Well, they're going to fuck that up too. So I'm just saying.
Because I was thinking he's like the major he's the Marvel top villain, right? He's like number one, I think, right?
He's analogous to Lex Luthor.
He's
not God level, but he sometimes gets there.
People know Doctor Doom. When people think of great comic book villains, they think of Doctor Doom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whether it's DC or Marvel,
his origin is tied to the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards in particular, but Marvel has done a much better job of divorcing villains from their primaries and having them appear as major villains for others. So he's absolutely gone up against Iron Man. That's a perfect combat.
Right.
Sorcerer's, what's his name? Doctor Strange.
Right.
Spider-Man a lot. Yeah. That's one of the great things about Marvel that I think these movies are not. I was just watching a video by another YouTuber who clearly is more positive to Marvel than most of us. He even liked the Falcon and the Winter Soldier or whatever. Wow. Mm-hmm. But he's pointing out that this stuff is all this stuff that they've put on streaming is killing them. So that you end up going to the movies and not having any clue what's going on. Some of it doesn't even matter.
Right.
So, we're quick to point out that no, we don't have superhero fatigue. We have crappy movie fatigue. But the problem is you put out a whole bunch of mediocre crap that doesn't mean anything. People get sick of that,
So do you think this movie is going to turn the tide, or is this going to be... Well, for starters, another problem with this is way over budget.
Yeah, it's not even going to make. It's not even going to make its budget back
They've had
now
a
at
ton
this
of
point.
reshoots.
This has been the same problem they've had with everything, even if it does fairly well, and they'll spin it and they'll say, "Oh, look, it made more than this and it made more than that," and blah 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 blah. Yeah, you still lost money. Congratulations. When you get to zero, then start talking about how good you did.
I did want to make one point of this trailer, and maybe we'll see more in the movie itself, but a lot of the Captain America movies feature other heroes in the movie. Like, I know
that's been the biggest problem too.
Even in the first one, you had Howard Stark, Tony
Yeah.
Stark's dad. You had, well, not a superhero, but still an important Marvel character. You had Agent Carter. You had
The Howling
Bucky
Commandos.
and the Howling Commandos all
Yeah.
in the one movie. Then you had Winter Soldier. You had Black Widow. You had Nick Fury. So it wasn't just Steve Rogers doing, and Falcon shows up in it too.
But
So,
at least you
I
could
don't see
argue.
anyone-
At
Yeah.
least that you can argue that in both of those movies, he was front and center.
Oh, he's the main
lead.
character. No, and that's fine. And I
That
think,
does not come off in Civil War at all. He is marginalized in his own movie. I can't even see Civil War as a Captain America movie.
it's more like an Avengers movie.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And that's where it starts to go off the rails. You needed more character development of these individual characters for you to give enough damn about them for the
I felt
crossover
like Tony
movies.
Stark had as much screen time in that than
Yeah.
anybody else. Yeah, it's just it's. But I'm trying to think, what is the next? I guess where do they go from here though? They're doing Secret Wars, or is that this Marvel Disney Plus show?
I have no idea.
Secret Invasion. That was that show.
I think it
There
was.
Secret
Yeah, I think it
Wars.
was. Secret Invasions was Nick Fury. Having
Wasn't Nick Fury
being completely
Oh no,
feckless.
he was Nick Fury. Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, they were making fun of Nick Fury in that, saying maybe you might want to think about retiring, that sort of thing. Like, they like to take the heroes and knock them down a peg. I've been noticing this.
Well, he got his fucking nuts handed to him after that last what do you call it?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Oh boy, I got very angry at that with the whole eye thing.
Yeah.
Because he made a point. See this?
We just rewatched one Captain America and Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And he says, yeah, last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Yeah,
that's got
perfect.
gravitas. When you actually see it happen, you're like, oh, F all this.
That was a stupid thing by someone who didn't pay enough attention to the script written prior. Listen, there was probably a really cool story there, and we don't necessarily have to see it, but it was probably this thing where he got betrayed. It was probably some espionage, Mission Impossible type stuff.
Right.
That's what I was seeing that as, where he lost his eye in that, and that's just... But no, that's not what we get, so I just don't know. I wish Steve Rogers would have one more Cap movie that was a true Cap movie. I feel like Captain America did get a little shortchanged. I think they all did.
Civil War was another one where they rushed it too much and thereby blew it. What they needed to do was every one of those Avenger characters needed their own movie, and I don't care if you do them, and release them, once a quarter. Fine. Film them at the same time, put one out every 3 months or one every 6 months, okay, and lead up to a Civil War Avengers movie, okay, because we have the template in the comics, right, and you get to see how the whole concept of Civil War impacted each and every character, and you know who should have been front and center in that? It should have been Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Like in the comics, I guess.
Which would have been a great lead into what they did with No Way Home. That would have been a great lead into No Way Home. And it would have been a great way to redeem the story arc from One More Day from the comics.
Yeah, there are things in Marvel movies that happen where I get excited by watching the trailer and I realize, because you had the Hulkbuster suit
Yeah.
that Tony Stark had invented
Right.
to kind of take on the Hulk. And I thought in that Age of Ultron trailer, I thought that Ultron was going to take over the Hulkbuster suit. And
That would have been
wreaking
good,
havoc
yeah.
with it. I thought that was going to be a plot of that movie. That's not what happened, though. The movie is probably going to set up the Thunderbolts. I think it's supposed to, because the Thunderbolts directly follows this one. That's right.
Yeah.
That was the original schedule. It was going to be this summer. I think May was going to be Captain America, Brave New World, and then it was going to be followed by Thunderbolts later in the summer. And then they postponed both. I keep thinking of that awful Taskmaster they introduced.
And Samuel, I wouldn't be poo-pooing it if they didn't call it Captain America Civil War. If they just called it Civil War, if it had just been an Avengers movie, I would not be having this problem. I also feel, though, that there wasn't enough build-up for it. They squeezed too much into one damn movie.
We haven't, think about this, though. We haven't had an Avenger movie since Endgame.
Yup.
And do the Avengers still exist in the MCU? Is that what the Thunderbolts?
No, most of them are dead.
You had Thor.
No, you killed them all off.
Well, Thor's still running about, right?
Thor and Falcon Soldier.
Okay, Falcon Soldier, and we had what's his name, Hawkeye. But then he was training a younger. They did a Hawkeye series where it was about a.
Okay, so now they got Hawk Girl. Okay, no problem. There you go. There's your Avengers.
They were trying to set up young Avengers, like it was going to be all the kids. That's why they're having all these young, like America Chavez showing up in the one movie, that they were going to be doing like a young Avengers team. I guess the Peter Parker Spider-Man would be on it. I don't know if they're still planning to do that. I don't know what they're planning to do right now. I just know that this is the first big Marvel news we've had in a while, other than Disney Plus stuff.
Leia says, I will say it again, Sebastian Stan does not get enough credit as Bucky Barnes. He has gotten screwed over by Disney. It's one reason I am out of the MCU. Yeah, he's the wrong gender and the wrong color.
People were talking about him. If they were going to recast Luke Skywalker, they could have cast him. But
yeah, but he's probably a bit old for the role.
He's probably getting too old now,
Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along, that's the big news this week was the Captain. I don't know. I don't usually cover Disney Marvel, but I'm like, this is a dead week for pop culture news. So I'm like, we're going to talk about it. See if Troy maybe has come around. He has not.
I will not. No.
Moving on. All right.
Don't hold your breath waiting for me to get into the Marvel again.
So here we go to games. Nintendo reveals disturbing Emio teaser, and fans are baffled, including me. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. Just I'm gonna get rid of that for a second. What is that?
That would be the Unknown Comic. I don't know.
You're joking. It looks like the Unknown Comic. That was from the. I believe he was on. Was he ever on the Gong Show? I know he was on.
He was on the Gong Show and many other appearances
Make Me
back
Laugh.
then. Yeah.
Make Me Laugh was a hilarious show. I would catch that in repeats. Oh man, the object of Make Me Laugh, it was a game show where professional stand-up comics would come out and try to make people sitting in front, make the contestant laugh, and if you laughed, you're out of the game.
Yep.
You could hold your laughter till the end. You can win prizes and stuff. And Gallagher was on it. I remember he was on it.
Yep.
He had some fake face like on the back of his head where he would like do like ventriloquism on it.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. Anyway, though, Captain America 57 minutes, Iron Man 56 minutes, Black Widow 34 minutes, Spider-Man 30 minutes. Wow, I forgot they introduced Spider-Man in the movie. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Captain America.
Wow, he got one more minute than the next most popular character in his own movie. That's bullshit.
Nintendo reveals disturbing Emio teaser and fans are baffled. Let's start again. Here we go. Where the heck are my notes? I'm confused now because I'm using Word. All right. Nintendo doesn't usually veer into this kind of territory.
No.
They have in the past, and then they get chickened out. They did Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64, which I remember they even helped did these little promotion parties for it with Playboy magazine. This is back in the late 90s, and I think they got all embarrassed by it later on. This was like an M-rated. It was almost like a game that made fun of cutesy platformers and said, you had like this foul-mouthed British squirrel that was, going on these weird adventures. It was a great game, but I think Nintendo shied away from that. I think Microsoft owns it now. Then they made a horror game called Eternal Darkness. which was kind of based on Lovecraftian type stuff, or had like a Lovecraftian vibe to it, right? And good survival horror game made by I think an American developer called Silicon Knights, which I think Nintendo then didn't bother advertising and quickly swept it under the rug. And I've not seen them really try to make M-rated games since, but apparently they're back with this. Nintendo has revealed a rather ominous 15-second teaser trailer on its various YouTube channels, simply titled Emio. It's pretty spooky stuff for the big N. At the moment, nobody really has any idea what it's all about. The video description asks in hashtag form, "Who is Emio?" And we don't know. Do you? A Japanese website is also available, but is currently only showcasing the same creepy image you see in the trailer alongside the word something, which roughly translates to "smiling man." Yep, that's what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least he looks happy.
Nintendo UK upload comes with a brief warning that states this video contains scenes that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Very odd for Nintendo, don't you think? So that's really what we have to go on at the moment. So what do you think, dear reader? What could Emio be? Is it a new horror game from Nintendo or something else entirely? Do you think that that he's going to lift off the mask and he's going to say, "It's a me, Mario"? And
no, I don't see that. If this, I'll tell you what, I'd almost be disappointed if it wasn't a horror game now.
I think it's a horror game. I think they're
and I don't really see what's wrong with that either. They're very big these days.
It surprises me though that Nintendo. I think Nintendo just decided a while back we're not really going to do M-rated games. That's what our competition does. You get those, and you can still get M-rated games on Nintendo platforms, like by third parties. You just can't. Nintendo themselves don't make M-rated games because they're more. I don't want to say they're like a Disney of video games, but they're kind of the Disney of video. Like they're about making more wholesome stuff. I mean, you do have stuff like Metroid, which is more teen rated.
True. But at the same time, I think when I think Nintendo, I think, well, what is the market in Japan on this? I would say the market in Japan is totally good with this, even for kids. Although Japan is a very, very different market than the U.S. Well,
it does have an M rating, so apparently it has been rated already. So they didn't mention this at all at their big Nintendo Direct. Maybe they didn't want to have this being shown next to Pokemon games.
I do like what Nate's saying. Who is Emio? To quote Tommy Lee Jones, I don't care.
I mean, I don't know. Is Emio trying too hard? He's got like the twitchy fingers. He's wearing the grocery bag on his head with the smiley face. It's like I don't want to talk to this guy, but I don't know. Am I freaked out by him? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what this is. This looks like a survival horror game of some sort. And I guess we'll have to wait until it comes out, which I'm assuming is this year if it's already been rated. I just don't know what it is, and I don't know... Again, I don't know why Nintendo's making an M-rated survival horror game unless they plan for it to do well. I mean, I don't know.
It could be really good. You never know.
It might be good, but it's just not their thing.
I also don't blame them for saying, "Hey, let's try something." It's not like they're putting this out without a warning.
Yeah.
Everybody going in thinking, "Oh, Nintendo's for kids. Oh crap, this is not for kids." They're warning you. So, all
right,
I get it.
Hey, look, I like my horror games. I got Nun Massacre a few months back, so I mean, I'm just you make a face at Nun Massacre. There's some, how there's what is it, lo-fi horror? Is that what they're calling it now? Like with the movies. Skinamarink was one of them. Or
analog horror.
Yeah, there's analog horror movies, and I consider these games like analog horror games. Like they deliberately look like something off the PlayStation 1. So like they have that very more primitive 3D graphics, and it's stuff like cannibal kidnapping and or like Nun Massacre, which has like these
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Kind of, yeah. Maybe it's being done to reach that same audience, yeah. So maybe this is going to be Nintendo's Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe that's how they're billing it. Maybe that's what they're thinking with this. I don't know. But
I don't know. I'll be interested to see how. Of course, I probably won't end up playing it, but I'll be watching for some playthroughs and stuff like that.
Well, keep in mind, Nate, that this is probably a Japanese game, so this won't be American. I don't think there's American writers working on this. So this is
So it's going to be that kind of horror.
like,
See, that's the other thing. To
some
keep in
people
mind.
are arguing, it actually feels like a J horror, like something like The Ring, kind of the way the video was shot. Yeah,
exactly.
So. And,
Which actually kind of interests me, to be honest with you.
So we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll probably get it when it comes out if it's any good. So I don't know. Other gaming news.
This actually looks pretty good.
This is ridiculous.
I love it. It's bizarre, funny, cool. I love it.
Retro beat 'em up. The Karate Kid Street Rumble announced. Publisher Game Mill Entertainment has announced the Karate Kid Street Rumble, a new throwback 16-bit side-scrolling beat-em-up game set in the iconic franchise. The Karate Kid Street Rumble will launch on September 20th across Windows PC via Steam, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, Switch, PS4, and PS5. The game is set in the 1980s like the original film and will feature playable characters from the film as well. Daniel Russo, I thought it was LaRusso, Mr. Miyagi, Kumiko, or Ali Mills, as well as returning enemies like Johnny Lawrence, John Kreese, Terry Silver, and others across 12 levels. It's worth noting that this year marks the 40th anniversary for the Karate Kid franchise, with the sixth season of Cobra Kai hitting Netflix on July 18th. It'd be funny if you knock Johnny Lawrence into a core sign. That'd be funny. I would.
It does have that Street Fighter / Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look to it.
It has that whole look to it. There's Terry Silver. Do you see him?
Yes,
right there?
Yes, I do.
Who I consider to be the worst villain of the Karate Kid franchise.
Yeah.
Because even Kreese, while he's bad, I think on some level there's an honor thing going on too.
Yeah.
Whereas Silver's just all around awful.
He's by his last appearance in Cobra Kai, I think he was knucking futz. I mean, he's just Joker crazy.
Yes, and his friend, who I called the Dragon Lady.
Yeah, my prediction is she's going to have something to do with the next leg of the story leading into this new movie with Machio and what's his name? Jackie Chan.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some setup there. But we'll see. You know, I was thinking, though, wouldn't it be cool if they were to do they'd have to spend money on it, though. And this would probably be Sony's wheelhouse. This is the type of game they would make.
Yeah.
Like for PlayStation 5 or something. If they were to get Ralph Macchio and maybe just redo the first 3 Karate Kid movies as a 3D world style game where it starts out and you're playing.
That would be cool, yeah.
And you're
like they used to do with Atari and stuff like that.
What?
Like they used to do with Atari. They do a movie tie-in game.
Well,
for
yes,
every movie.
But this, this would be like how they did the Godfather game though years ago. It would be like full video cutscenes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And the 3D world. And the idea is maybe as the game goes on, your karate skills improve because when it first starts out with you and the bullies, you're getting your crap kicked out, and you got to go hide. You got to use stealth mechanics to survive the bullies, use maybe parkour things to get away from them. And then as the game goes on, you get training from Mr. Miyagi. Then you learn moves, and eventually they could even do the tournaments from the movies. I don't know. That might be an interesting idea, or maybe even just a game set in the Karate Kid universe where Daniel LaRusso is a teacher or something, and you're a new kid or something. But I don't know. I could see them doing something like that, but who knows? But as it stands, though, I think this looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it does look cool.
So I may pick this up on Switch if it comes out. We'll see.
And more on Cobra Kai and Karate Kid later on.
Yes, tomorrow night. Well, you want to do the pitch now?
No, we'll wait.
Okay, all right. Let's stay tuned at the end of the show. We'll talk more about Cobra Kai Karate Kid. All right. Next up is moving away from games, Redbox.
Yep.
The end of another era. What is
Yes.
going on here? Redbox owner Chicken Soup for the Soul to liquidate in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Not very uplifting, Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like they're being mean and taking something away. They're going broke. They're going out of business.
Redbox parent Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment has shifted its bankruptcy filing from Chapter 11 to Chapter 7, meaning it will liquidate its business. I heard that they ran into big trouble when a competing brand opened up turkey chili for the Soul, and it just
Oh
outsold
God.
I'm sorry. But no. Okay, anyway, the company sagging under the weight of nearly $1 billion in debt and a tall stack of unpaid bills filed for bankruptcy protection on June 29th. During bankruptcy court proceedings, it secured a debtor in possession loan of $8 million designed to help it resume paying workers after nearly a month of no paychecks and also restore their medical benefits. Deadline had earlier reported on the delays in pay and health care. That's not good. They can't pay
Yeah.
their staff, and they're trying to stay open. They don't have the money to pay the staff, then you're done, I think, right?
Yeah.
On Wednesday, HPS Investment Partners, which have been one of the company's backers and arranged for financing of the DFA loan, said it could not extend for any additional financial resources. Duly notified CSSE made a motion to shift the Chapter 11 case to Chapter 7, and U.S. bankruptcy judge Thomas M. Horn gave his approval. Richard Pacelli, a lawyer for Chicken Soup, told Horan in a hearing that the situation was heartbreaking and that a team of lawyers and execs had worked day and night to find a solution. At one point, they had hoped to raise funds by selling certain assets and be able to keep a core group of employees working. Ultimately, though, the conclusion was reached that employees would need to be let go and all 24,000 Redbox kiosks would shut down. It's not a position that any of us want to be in, Pacelli said, according to an audio recording released by the court.
So, one thing I'm going to say from a business standpoint, I'm not really seeing the logical connection between, spiritual publication and, the Netflix model of renting DVDs. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I had thought Walmart had taken over Redbox, but maybe I must have been mistaken on that, because obviously they're not the ones running Redbox.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because I always see Redboxes at Walmart. That's probably why I thought that.
And we see them here at our grocery store and whatnot, and
that's
what it is. You might mistake it, but it's just like any of these other vending machines you see there. They're always handled by some third party, and in this case, Redbox is, managed by someone outside of whatever store you're seeing it in. Who did a great, and I don't have the link handy right now, but Greg over at Fanzine did a video about it. And he makes a great point. He's like, it sucks, but this is not necessarily in and of itself an example of, death of the physical media. What it is the death of this business here that happened to be one of the last holdouts for DVD rentals.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that you can't still, in quotes, rent DVDs. What other option might be open to people that are looking to rent DVDs for a week or two?
Your public library.
Your public library.
And you don't have to pay unless you're late. You might have to pay a fine.
Which is what would happen with Netflix and Redbox and whatnot anyway.
Listen, if you go to your public library and you say, I'm new here, I want to check out some DVDs, what's the policy? And they'll tell you can check it out for 1 week or 2 weeks, and you can renew if no one else has a hold on them, but just if you be sure to get them back on time. That's what they'll probably tell you to do.
Yep.
That way everyone gets a chance to see. And libraries get a lot of recent movies in, too. I'm terrified at the death of physical media in places like Australia. I'm thinking about the libraries are dealing with that.
Yeah.
They're not going to have these things on the shelf.
Samuel Proctor brings up a point. Can you rent at your library games?
No. Games have never been a thing. I think some libraries in some parts of the country do rent games, but not at my library. What we do have to loan out are these little devices called launch pads, which have like the kind of games you might find on like a cell phone.
Sure,
those
sure.
types of games, and you can rent out that equipment. They're in the adult, the teen, and the children's section, and they're these neat little electronic devices you can take home, and it's like they're like little puzzle games, or you're like I Spy type search
Sure.
games on them.
Oh,
and
Samuel
those you
was
can
saying.
borrow. Yeah.
Samuel was saying Redbox had games. Okay, well that is a blow. Then one less place to rent games from. But the other thing that Greg points out is who this really hits hard, and people don't think about this when they think physical media versus streaming, and that's rural communities who have really crap internet. So streaming may not even be an option for them.
People really forget that there are parts of this country, maybe even in a county near you, where they just don't have good internet.
Yeah.
The fact that I have good internet here is kind of a blessing, but and I don't think it's perfect either, but there are other parts of even my state where you're in deep trouble because it's just not good out there, and some people don't have internet like they do. So sometimes coming down to the library or going to a Redbox or the last remaining Blockbuster, which might be somewhere, I don't know, or that finally closed. I don't know.
I don't know. Samuel says he remembers his dad getting renting Netflix DVDs about a decade ago. I currently have within arm's reach a stack of those red envelopes.
Yeah.
Just haven't thrown them out
I
yet.
remember those. I remember I got Soul Bianca in the mail. That was an anime I was trying to watch. I got that through Netflix mailing. That was the only time I really used the service because I think my sister had it. So it's like, I'll let you rent the things that I want to watch. Oh look, they got Soul Bianca. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Which is like about these intergalactic, I want to say, bounty hunter type ladies that were on a spaceship called the Soul Bianca.
Okay, cool.
I know. It only lasted like 3 episodes, but. Anyway, but Redbox. No longer.
Sorry to see it go.
Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, because a lot of people did rely on it. Like I said, become patrons of your local library. Just treat the materials with respect. That's all we ask. Okay. Alec Baldwin's Rust case dismissed after surprise bullets revealed in court. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this was one of the big headlines I felt to talk about. We've been following.
We've been covering it up to this point,
and this kind of just, I feel like a balloon deflated, or maybe popped, I should say. I don't know.
Yeah.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. The manslaughter case against Alec Baldwin has been dismissed after the judge blasted prosecutors for failing to turn over a batch of bullets to the defense. Judge Mary Marlowe Sommer threw out the case, ruling that no other sanction was sufficient. The state is highly culpable for its failure to provide discovery to the defendant, Marlowe Sommer said. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted. Marlowe Sommer ruled that under the principle of double jeopardy, Baldwin cannot be retried. She made clear that she was appalled at the prosecution's failures. If this conduct does not rise to the level of bad faith, it certainly comes so near to bad faith as it shows signs of scorching, the judge said. Judge sounded very angry here, I'll say this. Popular Variety, ignore that. Gasps were heard in the courtroom as Baldwin received hugs and congratulations from his family and supporters. He and his wife, Hilaria, were in tears, and they exited the courthouse and entered a black Chevy Suburban. They did not address the throngs of media outside. This was a disaster for the New Mexico judicial system, said John Day, a lawyer and local legal commentator. They got a huge allocation of public funds to prosecute this case, and this is what happened with that. This was an absolute catastrophe. The defense argued that prosecutors deliberately hid bullets that were turned over to investigators in March and which are relevant to the case. Erlinda Johnson, one of the 2 special prosecutors, resigned from the case on Friday amid turmoil over evidence. Carrie Morrissey, the lead prosecutor, said outside the courthouse that she disagrees with the judge but respects the court's decision. I'm disappointed because I believe the importance of the evidence was misconstrued by the defense attorneys, Morrissey said. We did everything humanly possible to bring justice to Helena and to her family, and we're proud of the work that we did. This is my impression, but you're more of a legal expert than I am. I'm suspecting that someone on the prosecution royally screwed up. That's what this is looking like here.
So let me back up and address the judge, right? You said the judge was really hot about this, and I would respect the hell out of that, except I feel like she's taken this way more seriously and has not done the same historically with other cases.
Okay.
I'm just saying that this, you start caring all about the Constitution and constitutional rights for some, but not for others, right? Everybody's equal under the law, but some are more equal than others. Just going to say that. But on a constitutional basis, this is absolutely the right call. I just, I feel like there might be more going on here than appears. So, okay. You're going to hear people talking about something called the Brady Standard, and that's absolutely the case, and it's the basis for all of this talk about disclosure, right? So here's the way it went down. So the day after Hannah Gutierrez got convicted, I'm not sure if it's her father or her father's friend or somebody turned over some ammo to the prosecution and says, this might be relevant. I'm not even going to get into the, things about ballistics and, any of that kind of stuff just yet. It's not disclosed by the prosecution because whoever took it felt that it wasn't relevant, apparently. Basically when it finally comes up and they discover, oh, you didn't disclose this, that means that Baldwin's defense never had a chance to look at this evidence that could have, one possible defense they could have come up with based on this is, okay, this looks like he's being set up, that there's something else going on, that this ammunition was brought in when it shouldn't have been, without anybody's knowledge. It might be, I don't know, the arms people. It might have been the manufacturer, whatever. But you can't make that argument or even decide if that's plausible because at this point, I don't think we even have a what do you call it? A chain of evidence. We don't know anymore where that came from, who turned it over, or what. Even if we do know who turned it over, it hasn't been preserved the way it should have been. But yeah. But the other thing too is, this is just my opinion. This is based on nothing but my, secondary analysis of what I'm looking at. I think that because it does look like it came from either Gutierrez's father or a police person who's good friends with her father, I think this was them trying for a retrial with new evidence for Hannah, and that's why this is happening. I do also believe that this is the court's opportunity to let somebody walk that they had been looking for a reason to let walk. But all that being said, that's speculation on my part. Pending any proof of what I just said, this would be the right call for the judge. But again, I don't think the judge makes this kind of call in every case the way she should. I don't think enough judges do. I don't think enough judges care enough about the Constitution to make a call like this. And treat everyone as innocent until proven guilty. In fact, going back to something that Leah Plus Size said here, I'll be honest, this may not be popular, but I do not think he shot the director on purpose. I believe this was a sad accident. Whether or not that's true needed to come out as evidence in court. I can't stand Alec Baldwin. Him going to jail would have been a kind of schadenfreude based on things he said to people, like a police officer who accidentally had a bad shoot. Right? This would be karma coming back on him for things he said in the past. But be that as it may, he's still innocent until proven guilty. And I say this about people I like, people I hate. I say this about everybody because I believe in the law, I believe in the Constitution, I believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty. So until someone proves to me beyond a reasonable doubt, or in this case, since it's a possible murder charge, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he had means, motive, and opportunity, and he intended to kill her, then I agree with you 100%, Leia. I can speculate otherwise, but I will assume otherwise until there's proof. And now there won't be proof because the prosecution screwed up.
But we have another trial, apparently.
Yes, we do. Well, not a trial. This is a civil case, and this is now something we're seeing more and more. We can't get someone on criminal charges, so we're going to sue them.
Okay. So let me bring this up. This was an interesting one. Helena Hutchins, widower, vows to take Alec Baldwin back to court over fatal shooting of Rust cinematographer. Alec Baldwin has today just seen the sudden dismissal of the involuntary manslaughter case against him for the fatal 2021 shooting of Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins. But the Emmy Award-winning actor could be back in court sooner than expected, almost 2 years after Baldwin and Rust producers reached a settlement with Hutchins' estate and her grieving husband to end a wrongful death suit. The lawyer for Matthew Hutchins today made it very clear that circumstances have changed. We respect the court's decision, Brian J. Parrish told Deadline of the criminal case tossed out today. We look forward to presenting all the evidence to a jury and holding Mr. Baldwin accountable for his actions in the senseless death of Helena Hutchins, the Panish attorney added. In the civil matter, he's working on again. Whether the court appearance will be a continuation of the initial wrongful death filed in February 22 or a breach of agreement sold is unclear right now, from what I hear. Hutchins was okay. But, so I'm not sure. Did it say that they already settled? Okay, go ahead.
Before we, I did want to, before it moves too far up, David Pensack says, I heard that the bullets in question that showed up were from the state of Arizona and were not on the set of the film. Correct me if I'm wrong. The prosecution felt it didn't connect to the scene. From what I've heard, you are correct, David, but the key is that last sentence. The prosecution felt they didn't connect to the scene. That was not the prosecution's call to make. That needed to be disclosed. And the court would have had to decide whether or not that was applicable. The defense needed the opportunity to say, we think it's relevant, we want to bring that up as part of our defense, and either the judge or the jury would say whether or not they felt it was relevant. That's the way it's supposed to work, and therein lies the problem. So on this civil case, although again I'm a big proponent of, if you can't prove, somebody did something, you don't have a case. This is very different. Okay, I was very strong in my opinion about the O.J. Simpson case. You failed to prove he was responsible for this death, and yet you're going to award money because screw the proof. We believe it anyway, and he's guilty, and here's money because he's rich. This is very different because whether or not the trial had come out, he was responsible for the death of this woman. He is still responsible for the death of this woman. It was his film. He was the producer. He hired these people. They all worked for him. He is the one responsible. The fact that he was the one holding the gun and pulling the trigger is almost ancillary. He would still be responsible if another actor had been in that position and shot her.
Question, though. I don't know if I was reading this incorrectly, either from another article. It looks like that they settled. They didn't want to take this portion of the thing to court, and they settled out of court. But then did I hear he didn't pay them yet, or didn't pay them on the deadline? I'm hearing all sorts of things. So could that be a reason for a retrial if he didn't pay them?
It's absolutely a reason. If you have come to an agreement and they fail to uphold their end of the bargain, well, it's back on, baby. And it's looking more and more like the reality is the movie still is not made. The movie still has not made money. And my understanding is that part of the settlement was that the widower was going to make points on the film. So that's why the movie has to go forward, so that Alec Baldwin could pay out. So I think there comes a point where you got to say, look, you need to pay me or we're going back to court. I think that's perfectly fair in a civil case like this.
Can this movie make money at this point? If it's a streaming exclusive on Netflix or something?
Absolutely not if it's a streaming exclusive.
Why? I don't see it going to theaters. This has a reputation now. I mean, I think people might feel...
I think it's only chance of making money. But then again, I don't know. There's a lot of details that we would know about, some of our more favorite franchise films behind the scene and stuff like that. Budgets and so forth. My question on something like this, what is the budget on a film like this? It's a Western. It could be a fairly low budgeted film. It might not be costing a lot to make. Yes, now they're running into overrun costs because of, I don't know how the finances are being handled. Is the incorporation, the movie corporation that's been set up for this movie, is it paying the legal fees for Alec Baldwin, which actually would make sense, would be plausible? But there's a lot of unknowns, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question.
All right. So I guess we'll learn more about this other case as it unfolds.
And I agree 100% with deleted scenes. Regardless of how any of this pans out, I have no interest in ever seeing an Alec Baldwin film ever again. He can rot in hell one day. I don't care. He's a trash person, and I don't like him.
This film, like others that were released, Accidents, Deaths, were eventually released. Yeah, like Twilight Zone, the movie, that was one that got released. All right, let's end maybe on some lighter notes, huh? William Shatner.
Yeah.
I want to say he was wearing that jacket when I saw him with his live thing, but I don't know.
It is one of his favorites.
It looks similar to the one he was wearing. He was wearing something similar, if not.
I might have been a little clickbaity by putting the Star Trek symbol above him with the, the hash through it, but
hey,
kind of not. It's kind of on point.
Well, I actually understand what he's saying.
I do too.
At 93 years old, William Shatner continues to surprise us. In a new interview with Entertainment Tonight, the 93-year-old actor who portrayed Captain James T. Kirk on the original Star Trek TV series from 1966 to 1969 and reprised the role in various films, revealed he's actually only seen a few episodes of his work and has never seen any of the spin-offs. I'm going to tell you something that nobody knows. I've never seen another Star Trek, and I've seen as few Star Treks of the show that I was on. I've seen as few as possible, he said. I don't like to look at myself, and I've never seen any other. I love it. I think it's great. I just don't, I don't watch television per se. I'm watching documentaries. I'm watching the news. I'm watching sports. I'm watching things that were documentaries that were made, but I don't watch television for some reason, he added. I've been urged to watch certain shows by my family. You'll love this, and I just never get around to it. I'm sure they were probably recommending Yellowstone to him. I suspect that's what they were probably telling him to watch. But
possibly.
In May, while promoting this documentary, You Can Call Me Bill, Shatner told the Canadian press it'd be an intriguing idea to reprise Captain Kirk today. It's almost impossible, but it was a great role, so well written. And if there were a reason to be there, not just to make a cameo appearance, but if there was a genuine reason for the character appearing, I might consider doing it, he said. Although his character was killed off in his last appearance in the 1994 film Star Trek Generations, the actor had a pitch for a way to bring Kirk back. A company always wants to freeze my body and my brain for the future might be a way of going about it, he told the Canadian press. We've got Captain Kirk's brain frozen here. There's a scenario. Let's see if we can bring back to life a little bit of this, a little salt, a little pepper. Oh, look at that. Here comes Captain Kirk.
What's ironic about that is that in Picard, that literally was a background shot. They went to some Black Ops place that they were trying to get. I don't remember if they went there to get the Enterprise or something like that, and they had things like the Genesis device and a genetically modified tribble and stuff, and apparently the frozen remains of Captain Kirk.
You know what would be interesting? I bet if you were to unfreeze that brain, cut a slice off, and maybe fry it up with some kidneys or something.
Some
and,
fava beans.
No, I'm saying you could get
and a nice Chianti.
You could get Klingons to pay a premium price to feast on Kirk's brain.
Oh, Klingon skull stew, absolutely.
They would be obsessed with. They would say because they hate Kirk, so they would be wanting to eat that brain, wouldn't they?
I could get behind that. Sure.
Just. But anyway, yeah. He said the documentary he worked on was a way of reaching out after he dies, so that's good to know. Maybe that's when I'll watch it. I'll wait until after he passes and watch it.
You might be waiting a while with this guy. I mean,
I'm still watching the
He looks pretty spry for a 93-year-old dude.
Yeah. He is. And I was watching an episode of The Unexplained. He was talking about, are UFOs real? He was talking about Project Blue Book and all this other stuff, you know? I mean, come on, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, you if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure you tune in on Tuesday nights for Live from Sparkwood and 21.
Yeah.
We'll be getting more into all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's heating up this season. We're just got through the return parts 1 and 2. But before we move on, we're going to do Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts, not Dakota Johnson. That is Emma Roberts. They keep putting Dakota Johnson's picture on this article. I like looking.
Well, because who remembers who else was in it besides Dakota Johnson? Nobody saw the damn movie. I
didn't even realize Emma Roberts was in this movie.
Yeah, see?
Emma Roberts blames internet culture for Dakota Johnson's box office film flop. And I don't even know if that's her saying Dakota Johnson. That might be the article. Emma Roberts isn't a no-name. I think she ends up on a lot of those American Horror Story series.
Right.
Like she'll be on a season of that. She's Julia Roberts' niece, I believe. And
she's got her eyebrows, so okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. I think she's married to the guy that played who was in Terminator Genesis, the one who played Kyle Reese. She's married to that actor, I think. Yeah, but anyway.
Oh, the one that didn't look anything like Kyle Reese? Yeah.
Well, he looked too built. He looked like he should have been playing the Terminator.
Right.
Anyway, while Dakota Johnson's foray into the Spider-Man universe in the form of recent blockbuster Madam Webb was deemed a commercial failure, one of the film's other leading ladies is convinced that the film's poor reception was a result of internet culture. Speaking on the Just for Variety podcast, Emma Roberts, who starred as Mary Parker. Okay, so she's the pregnant Mary Parker in the movie.
Yeah.
Who starred as Mary Parker in the film, spoke about Madam Webb, claiming it was a great film but was ruined by criticism on the internet. I personally really loved Madam Webb. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought everyone in it was great. The Wild Child actor began as she heaped praise on her co-stars and the director, S.J. Clarkson. If it wasn't for internet culture and everything being made into a joke, I think that the reception would have been different. And that's what bums me out about a lot of stuff, even stuff that I've done, is that people just make such a joke out of everything now, the actor continued. Despite the buzz generated around the female-led film, Madam Webb made just over $78 million at the worldwide box office, with the film's opening weekend making just $12 million. In comparison, Spider-Man No Way Home ranked at over $1.4 billion at the worldwide box office in 2021. But the commercial failure of the film didn't surprise Johnson, as she confirmed in a March 2024 interview with Bustle. It was definitely an experience for me to make that movie, Johnson continued. I had never done anything like it before. I probably will never do anything like it again, because I don't make sense in that world. I know that now, but sometimes in this industry you sign off on something and it's one thing, and then you're just making it becomes a completely different thing, and you're like, wait, what? But it was a real learning experience, and of course it's not nice to be part of something that's ripped to shreds, but I can't say that I don't understand. See, this is Dakota Johnson saying, yes, it was a mistake. I made a mistake taking on the role. The movie wasn't good. I want to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's cut her. I cut her plenty of slack. I think she should be in more mature roles anyway. But that's just my opinion.
I've said this before, and I still feel this way. I feel that you should be held accountable for the roles you choose. It is part of your career advancement, is understanding where you want to go with your career and choosing good roles. And throughout the history of acting, of cinema, actors have passed on roles that they wish they hadn't because it didn't look like a good one to them. And we also have a lot of people whose careers have been literally cut short because of roles that they've chosen. You need to... That's supposed to be why you have a manager.
Okay. Well, she fired the manager.
Well, yes, because she understands your job was to, just because it's Marvel related.
It was probably pitched as Marvel. Marvel was very hot a couple years ago.
There is no excuse for a manager not being as understanding of the business as we, the fans, are. Here we are every week talking about this stuff. You got people like Valiant Renegade and Culture Casino and Midnight's Edge who do detailed analyses of this, who can tell you the difference between Sony Marvel and Disney Marvel. Very different things. Do not confuse them. And how both of them are struggling right now. So
in the beginning, though, Sony was not necessarily saying, "Oh, this is a completely different than the MCU." No, they gladly threw the Marvel thing up there, and look, Venom coming out this fall.
Yes, I would say it's a manager's job to know.
Yes,
that's all gilding the lily. That's all bull. That's fugazi. Look at the market. How did the last movie do? How did all of their movies do? What has the trend been? Is it on its way up or is it on its way down? Do I want my ingenue in a film that's in a series that's on its way down?
Yes. So
I totally support her. I'd say, it's how you make the best out of a bad situation. You fire your manager.
That's what she was doing. And here's the deal: we used to have these things called movie critics that used to tear apart movies, and I don't think the critics were kind to this one either. You got to grow a thicker skin. If you want to think the movie work done was good, that's fine. I'm sure Dan Aykroyd still thinks Nothing But Trouble was a work of genius. I do not. Okay, so you were in a bad film that was just bad. I'm not even saying it was bad for woke reasons, which is bad, period. I've not seen it, though. I've been tempted to watch it, but after watching Morbius...
yeah.
That kind of finished. Of course, we have Kraven the Hunter still coming out this year. That's another one in this Venomverse.
Yeah, I'll pass on that too. Okay. Yeah, but deleted scene starts out. I agree with him 100%. More whiny actors. You make a shit movie, live with it. Your dad does it all the time. Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. Getting kind of sick and tired of actors complaining the fans didn't do it. The fans were mean on the internet. You know what? Put on your big girl pants and take responsibility for the shit film you were in. And it sounds to me like you're saying Dakota Johnson did, but maybe this gal didn't. And
I think part of the problem is I think Dakota Johnson, honestly, she doesn't belong in these PG-13 superhero type. That's not her venue. She should be in more daring R-rated fare. The kind that
having pubes CG'd onto her and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
No. Maybe I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I don't want to repeat it.
It blows your mind that I even know that that's the case.
I'm saying
50 Shades of Grey.
Maybe like a noir. If we were doing a modern noir.
Oh, absolutely. She'd be great for a noir film. Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'd like to see her in stuff like that. A thriller, something like that. I don't think she should be in this.
Sashi makes a good point too, though, and a little bit tongue-in-cheek. She's technically right. People who watched it and wanted those who had not warned those that had not that it was bad. Without that warning, they would have maybe gotten more money. I mean, that's true, but that's kind of like blaming gravity for falling from a height and dying. It's kind of the reality of the world. It's still up to you to keep away from that edge and not leap off of it.
I think Captain Marvel heard it too, though. I'll be honest with you, because you had another all-girl Marvel team-up movie with that fizzled out,
and that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. There's none of this exists in a vacuum, right? You have on the one side, you have Sony trying to make Marvel films, basically trying to make Spider-Man films without Spider-Man, using characters nobody gives a flying frack about, right? That is in no way tied into what made those films successful, and that was Avengers tie-ins, right? And on the other side, Avenger isn't even what Avengers is. We were talking about this with Brave New World, how we expect it to bomb, and how every film has bombed since Endgame. So it really is incumbent on. You can say whatever you want about internet culture, but damn it, Hollywood, it's time to get your heads out of your collective asses and pay attention to the things you should be paying attention to. Understand the industry you are in and start making decent decisions for your clients.
Dakota Johnson is not lead actress material. She's better in an ensemble. I respectfully disagree that it has nothing to do with me being smitten with her. Anyway, moving on.
Which means it absolutely has to do with it.
And I refuse to watch those 50 Shades because I don't want to hurt. I don't want to damage that view of my mind.
I don't know. Maybe that would be the kind of thing you want to see.
No, let's not go there. It's not. Let's not go. I don't want to go there. If you know what I mean. Okay. It was like the one guy who was talking about the early '70s Caligula and how much he respects Helen Mirren as an actress. And then I'm like, oh, and I'm seeing Helen Mirren. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of Helen Mirren in it. It's like, no, he's like, this is kind of. And she looks
I'm
good,
seeing a lot of Helen Mirren.
And he wasn't complaining about the way she looked. It's just,
it's all right up in there, yeah.
He's like, he doesn't see her like that and doesn't want to see her necessarily like that.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's Horizon 2 pulled from August releases in theaters after first film flops.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's period western Horizon: An American Saga Chapter 2 won't be riding into theaters on August 16th after all. The film is being pulled from the release calendar for now after Horizon: An American Saga Chapter 1 bit the dust at its theatrical debut late last month. A new date has yet to be announced for the sequel, but a theatrical release is still the intention. After numerous discussions, Costner's Territory Pictures and distribution partner New Line Cinema made the decision to switch up their ambitious release plan in hopes of allowing more time to grow the audience for the first film, which sports a $100 million price tag. As part of the attempt, Chapter 1 will debut in the home of premium video on demand July 16th. In addition to still being able to be watched in the theaters, the film could do notable business on video on demand. Territory Pictures and New Line Cinema have decided not to release Horizon Chapter 2 on August 16th in order to give the audience a greater opportunity to discover the first installment of Horizon over the coming weeks. Okay, we already read that. Added Territory Pictures in a separate statement. The audience response to Horizon and the enthusiasm for seeing our story continue Horizon 2 has been incredibly gratifying. Kevin made this film for people who love movies and who want to go on a journey. The support that we have received from film fans and theater owners as they experience the first chapter of this saga only serves to reinforce our belief in them and that the films we have made, and we thank them for coming on board for the ride. We welcome the opportunity for the window to be expanded as we want to only serve to enhance the experience of seeing Horizon 2. All that makes sense to me. The Horizon series marks a major gap for Costner, put $38 million of his own money into Chapter 1 and funded the rest with the help of two mystery investors and by selling off foreign rights. New Line and Warner's agreed to distribute and market the first two movies for a fee, with Costner pulling up for the marketing. Costner intends to make 4 films in total. I'm kind of curious how this is doing well.
You know, the only thing I can say...
Oh, this is the Great Migration West during the Civil War era. It's supposed to be, I guess, people who were settling to the West while the Civil War was going on. Okay. So, what do you think?
Well, you know, Kevin Costner is just a mixed bag, right? He's, you know, I was just going off about people not reading the industry, not, you know, making wise choices about their projects. And honestly, Kevin Costner has made some really bad investments as a producer, you know, in films that he's, you know, produced and starred in. But I mean, this is Waterworld guy, you know. I mean, this is, you know, I'm sorry. If I was an investor who didn't know the industry, I would look at his past record and say, I'm not sure I want to invest in anything you got going on. You got a bad track record, you know. He needs to be objective about his own record, you know. I wonder if there isn't some confounding factors here with the popularity of Yellowstone and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a future for westerns, but there's a huge marketing hurdle to overcome. And I think that's a big part of what he's dealing with. Look, numbers are numbers too. You know, however his first movie did, yeah, you don't plan a sequel if the first one didn't do well. You know?
Apparently, Damn Fool Ideas Crusader has a great take on this film.
I have to go check it out. Thanks, David, for bringing that up.
No one wants to see a TV movie in theaters. They used to do that all the time back in the day when they would take American TV movies and throw them up on European screens, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder how this will do in Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a completely different market that I know not. I
mean, aren't they obsessed with the American West out there, or at least they used to be? Right?
I don't know if they still are. Yeah, you're
okay,
right. They used
I don't
to
know. I'm just. I feel I don't know. I want to watch. I just don't feel like going to the theater to see it. I'm sorry. That's what I
Yeah.
feel like. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, wait for it to come out on whatever.
I mean, and plus the fact that he says it's going to be in 4 parts too. That's what threw me off, because now it's an investment. Instead of it being if this had been pitched as a single movie and they could have sequels in the works,
Yeah.
But instead it's just I don't know. I mean, he is a quintessential Western actor, though. He's like a modern Eastwood or John Wayne, so I'm not taking that from him. But
no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, but this wraps it up for tonight, though.
It absolutely does.
Do you like
but
the Red Hulk's hand behind the shield? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Are you getting excited to see Harrison Ford transform into the Red Hulk and his face getting distorted?
Not at all. Not at all. Somebody made a great point. They've completely destroyed the Hulk as a character in film, and they want us to get hyped over Red Hulk? Yeah, no. Don't see that coming.
Is that because of She-Hulk? Did She-Hulk finally put the kibosh? Or
that was a big part of it, but it was also the handling of him throughout. You know, he never got another movie. They wussified him. Yeah, there's no. But if you are not ready for bed just yet, want to recommend Deleted Scenes, The Other Side of Midnight, number 60. This is the 60th installment of The Other Side of Midnight. There's the link right there. So go check it out. In about an hour.
Deleted Scenes channel, The Other Side of Midnight. He always has an interesting guest on there, usually.
Yep.
And I know that we had some interesting topics going on this week with, well, I know he talked about that a bit on Unscripted. Maybe he'll keep the conversation lighter.
I don't know. I think he's talking, you know, it's always a mystery what he's got coming up for The Other Side of Midnight. Maybe he said his say already about the week's events. I think he's talking films with Sin, aren't you? I don't know. If you want to let everybody know, you can let everybody know.
I like the on Mondays. I know he does the mystery. Sometimes he does the mystery movies, right?
Right.
Him and Sin go to the mystery movie night at Regal, talk about the movie, and I'm thinking mystery movies are like mystery meat. You never know what you're going to get, right?
Right. Exactly.
And then on your channel, though, and I think I'll be joining you tomorrow night, at least for a portion of the stream, not the whole thing. It'll be the Karate Kid beginning of the Karate Kid rewatches, right?
Yep. So Monday night at the movies, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. We'll be watching the Karate Kid and Karate Kid 2.
Cool.
So like I said, yeah, it's going to be the Karate Kid week. Because then, I'm going to go a little bit out of order. Then on Thursday, if you are a Netflix subscriber, or you have some other method, the first half of season 6 of Cobra Kai is dropping.
Ooh.
So as a result, so what I wanted to do, of course, was to kind of refresh our memory a little bit with the movies that inspired this series, kind of take us back to brass tacks. But then on Friday, you and I will be on Last Call at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and we will be talking about Cobra Kai, not specifically about the first season of season 6.
The whole season up to now, all the series up until this
right. We're going to kind of just run through it and
I've been chopping at the bit to do a Cobra Kai stream.
Yes,
so I think
you have.
too. We were waiting for the right time, so I think.
And this just seemed like the right time, so that is the plan. And just going beyond, the following week, just to bookend it, a week from Monday, a week from tomorrow, the double feature will be Karate Kid 3 and the next Karate Kid.
Oh,
so we're getting all 4 of them in 2 weeks. This is the month of the Karate Kid, I guess.
July, yes.
And you got a movie, you got a game coming out on Switch too. So
on everything, it's coming out on PC and other consoles too.
So
which is keep your fingers crossed it'll be decent. It's going to play fast and loose with the plot of the movies because Allie is a playable character probably throughout all 3.
There you go.
And did she know martial arts?
I don't know.
Who cares? They're gonna just rewrite.
We're gonna review, and we're gonna go back, check the movies out, and we'll see.
It's like those wonderful Star Wars games on the Super Nintendo that sort of played a little fast and loose with some plot elements to make it make sense in a game.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Barbara in the remake of Night of the Living Dead, where she's starting to like go all comatose and stuff, and someone slaps her and says, "You guys snap out of." She's like, "Damn right!" And she rips off her sleeve, and she turns into Sigourney Weaver.
That'll be a cool rewatch sometime. Maybe in the fall if you want to do. You could do possible branching paths of Living Dead. You could do that. Maybe one of the Return of the Living Dead.
Oh God, I could do a whole series. Like if I were to do like a creature feature series, and we could just do the Night of the Living Dead. What night of the week would we want to do that on, though?
I don't know. I know you. Well, Monday nights. I thought maybe in the fall, maybe right. I don't know because October.
I don't know.
Well,
anyway, let's get back to this week. So Tuesday night, Sparkwind 21 deleted scenes channel, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, part 3 of season 3 of Twin Peaks. It's very meaty. It is very meaty. So
there was an angry arm in the last episode.
Yes. We are looking at 50 to 55 minute episodes, but then I think we're doing like an hour of analysis on it. There's a lot to talk about. Yes, deleted scenes. Patricia Tallman, who not only is beautiful and a good actress, but a stunt woman.
Yeah.
She's just brilliant. So yeah, when I get around to that, we'll definitely be talking about Patricia Tallman. So that's Tuesday. Thursday, I know Netter's Thursday things, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. She'll be sitting down with Dad Man Walking. Great channel on YouTube. She had previously had a chit chat with Mrs. Dad Man Walking. Now we get the other side of the family.
Dad Man Walking.
Exactly. Already told you about Friday. Saturday night, that's Netter's Retro Cinema. We will be watching the Stephen King film Dreamcatcher, which I don't remember. I know I've seen it. I got the DVD. I just don't remember it in detail, but we'll be watching that.
What are those snapper cases Warner's put out?
Snapper cases.
You know what a snapper case is?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
All right, and then that leads us to Sunday, where I know Deleted Scenes will have his Western Cinema with Outlaw Bill, I believe. And they'll have Unscripted next week, which maybe I know I don't know if he'll try to touch on the Baldwin trial then, because I know he was talking about the unfortunately the almost assassination on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then join us again for Geeky Geezers. Well, we will probably have a sad retrospective on Shannon Doherty as one of the beginning things. and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, that one came in kind of late. We already had 3
I
in
figured
the
we
hopper.
had 3. I didn't want to just shortchange Shannon Doherty, so I figured we'll wait till next week. Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Rest
that
in
makes
peace.
Perfect sense. Yep.
And that does it for us. Hope you all have a great week. Any last words, Troy?
Nope. Just want to thank you all. It's so crucial. I know we say it every week, but please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up because, this channel is way undersubbed, and it's criminal. So let's try to help Boomer out a bit.
Well, I'll be working on some things with that too. I know you
There
mentioned
you go.
deleted scenes. Tried something once, so
Yeah,
try that.
yeah. We'll
All
talk
right.
about that.
But yeah, go ahead and hit that like button, share it, hit the bell, hit the notification bell, and subscribe.
Yep.
Make sure you are subscribed, because like I said, sometimes you can think you're subscribed and you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
That can happen a lot too. Y'all have a good week, and I'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.